Thinking about launching a podcast but overwhelmed by all the moving parts? At TurnKey Podcast Productions, we take the hassle out of podcasting so you can focus on the talk, not the tech. From concept to launch, guest booking to post-production, we handle everything. Need a strategy to grow your show and turn guests into clients? Yep, we do that too. DIY or done for you, we've got the solution that fits. Whether you're just getting started or ready to scale, TurnKey is your behind-the-scenes podcast team. TurnKey Podcast Productions. Your voice, your message, fully produced. Learn more at turnkeypodcast.com/contact. That's turnkeypodcast.com/contact.
Coming up today on the Nice Guys on Business.
So RockStep 16, that's this week, provide solutions. That came from Napoleon. So Napoleon had a rule that when his generals came to him, they would never tell him, hey, Napoleon, we got a problem. You have to come in the following format. Napoleon, we got a problem. I've identified 3 options or multiple options. Boom, boom, boom. Here's what they are. And I am recommending option 2 because. And so the idea is you want people to take responsibility to think through a solution to a problem and not drop the monkey on somebody else's back.
Right.
Okay. And that is a behavior that leads to a better performing team.
Smarter than Stephen Hawking, more popular than Chris Pratt, and better looking than Brad Pitt. 3 things you will never hear about the Nice Guys on Business. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by TurnKey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
Okay, nice guy community. So Andy Weiner isn't just in the business of shopping centers. He's in the business of reimagining what community really could look like. And as the founder and president of RockStep Capital, he's been transforming hometown retail spaces since 1996. I know a lot of you have not even been born before 1996, so you're going to be learning from a master, proving that even a mall, remember those malls, can have a heartbeat. Before that, Andy was running the family retail business with more than 5,000 employees by his early 30s. So yeah, he's been leading people longer than most of us have been paying rent. Now, he built his company around 25 guiding principles. We're not going to go through all of the principles today. He promised me that we'll get to some of the really, really essential ones. They're called the RockSteps, and they shape everything he and his team does. As you know, through some conversations on Fridays with Strick and I, we both dabble in commercial real estate. So I'm pumped to be able to talk the RockStep way, leadership and culture, and how Andy keeps the community at the center of it all. Andy, I'm excited to chat with you. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Doug, happy to be here.
So let's start here, because I think oftentimes it's not the investment and it's not even what vehicle is being used. Before we make the investment comes that thing called trust.
Sure.
What's been a solid way for you to help gain that trust with clients that you have either garnered or working with or soon to work with that may have never met you before, like my community that's listening today?
Yeah. So before I talk about the RockSteps, let me just let you know and your listeners know that the word RockStep is a dance move. It's not in the dictionary as a word, but dancers know. I like big band music, Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, 50s, 60s, swing.
Nice.
And when you do couples dancing, you RockStep when you switch directions on count 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, RockStep, like ball pivot change. And so, Doug, we use it as a metaphor, basically to be agile, to be flexible, to listen to the music in the industry. And we use it as a verb. Hey, Doug, we got a problem here. We got a RockStep. Okay. And then we also use it as a noun because they are 25 behaviors that I wrote, very detailed behaviors about how I want everyone at RockStep, we have about 100 employees, how I want them to behave. And if they behave like this, we'll have a high performance team. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to resolve conflict. We'll be able to build trust. And it's the language we use. I'm very emotional about it, to tears, to the mat. If you want to manipulate me, tell me you like the rock steps, Doug. Okay, you'll get whatever you want. But in our interviews, so anybody interviewing to RockStep, and we're hiring,
Yeah.
Doug, is you have to come to the interview. What are your favorite 3 rock steps and why? What are your most challenging rock steps and why? Every Monday, we've been doing it for 9 years. We have a rock step of the week. We're on RockStep 16, provide solutions. And so one person writes a little essay about it and then calls at random. Other people in the teams call, hey, Doug, what does it mean to you to provide solutions in your work?
Oh,
You got
I
to be
love it.
prepared for being called upon. And so you get used to thinking about these type of behaviors. And so, what are your favorite 3 and why? What are your most challenging 3 and why? My favorite, rock step number 1, my favorite 3, rock step number 1, do the right thing always. We're in the investment business.
Yeah.
Okay. The investment business is a world of gray. So you got to stop and say, hey, what do we do? How do we deal with this? Second favorite, rock step number 3, be punctual. On time is 5 minutes early. And if you're on time, you're late. It's about courtesy. Rock step 24, keep family first. If you don't take care of your family, if you don't take care of your health first, you can't take care of RockStep. Most challenging 3, RockStep number 4, be a fanatic about response time. Doug, is hard to keep up. There's too much coming at me. RockStep number 7, listen generously. My wife would verify that I have issues here. I'm impatient. I'm thinking about what I want to say. I'm working on them. Where I think women listen better than men. But anyway, I've got issues here. And then RockStep 25, keep things fun, is another challenge. I'm very, very serious. My wife says, Andy, you take the fun out of fun. Okay. So anyway.
You're doing good, though, man. You're doing good.
Yeah. So to come to RockStep, you've got to be really good, hopefully, at your profession, leasing, property management, finance, construction. To stay at RockStep, you got to live by these. And we're required to live by these between ourselves, between us and our investors, our tenants, our communities, our professionals, our lender. We're not perfect, but if there is one thing, the most important thing about our company, the most important, there's no close second, it's the RockSteps.
I love that you presented a handful of those steps, 7 or 8 of those steps along the way, and the ones that were challenging to you, and the ones that were the thing that you lead, you guide yourself by. I think one of the biggest challenges that people have is that they feel like if I am gifted with that talent that God gave me, whatever that talent is, whether I'm a great home run hitter, or I'm a great garbage collector, or I'm a great engineer, I would assume that those have to be a given, being the things that you shared with me were like, they're skills that you can't, it's hard to train those skills. It's hard to train somebody to want to be on time, or to want to innovate, or to want to live generously, or follow rules, or any of that. Those are skills that you feel like you either come to the table already with, and they're very difficult to train. The other stuff you can train. That stuff, it's really hard.
It's a little bit about character, grittiness, courtesy. I mean, this is a program about nice guys. Be easy to work with is one of our rock steps. Don't be a jerk is another one of our rock steps.
Yeah.
And I've made the mistake, Doug, of hiring people that I thought were so transformative for our company, but they didn't live by the rock steps. And so I will never hire another brilliant jerk again. Okay. No, but I'm talking about, there's some people, you kind of relax the rules because this person is going to make us greater, okay, or whatever it is. And I had to part company. It was my mistake. Look, anyway, it's you got to be easy to work with. I mean, that's part of the themes of your program, and jerks aren't allowed.
How much of this came from your life experience in running your business, as opposed to your life's experience early in your life running the retail business in 100 plus?
I will tell you that, first of all, great question. I would say most of it has been inspired by my upbringing, by my grandfather, father, and uncle. I'll give you an example about be punctual, um, which is very important to me. So at our family business, we had 159 stores. There was a philosophy you had to pay your bills on time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On time. And that you never kept anybody waiting. If you had a meeting, you never kept them waiting. And so paying your bills on time, which is what we do here, is just very, very important. And then the idea of doing the right thing always. So we would count, let's say we ordered 12 dozen dresses. We would count the dresses. That's 144. If we received 145, we would pay for 145. Okay. And now, if we received 143, we would pay for 143.
Right.
Works both ways. Okay.
Right.
But it's just treating people with honor. And it's stopping to ask, how do we deal with this issue of gray? A lot of business is gray. Okay. A lot of the investment business is gray. And so you've got to stop and really ask, how's the right way to deal with this? Certainly when no one's looking. That's the key, when no one's looking.
Yeah, the key, I was actually, that was the question I was going to queue up with you is doing the right thing when no one is watching. You know, I think that is so key. I had a partner way back in the 90s, and as recently as a few years ago, we remained partners until we really started to see things differently, and I just, expansion in life, I guess. And one of the conversations that I had with him was over what is your allowable margin for error. And I said, I don't have any margin for error. I don't allow error. If I allow error, if I set a small margin, I'm going to stretch that margin to the next thing. So what's my acceptable margin for mistakes? I don't have it. He says, well, that's just not realistic. And I said, well, it doesn't matter if it's realistic or not. It's what I am allowing as a business owner. And so mistakes are going to happen. I know that, and it's how you handle the mistake after the mistake is made that is really important. But I personally don't like I don't want to make any mistakes.
Well, so we have a RockStep about that. And you have to look forward. So where is the RockStep here? You don't be blamey. Let me see where it is. So
sorry, take your time. This is good. This is a good point worth making.
I don't know where it is. But the second RockStep number 2 is practice A plusness. And so my son who reads it, hey, Dad, this is practice A-ness. And I said to my son, Max, there's a difference between an A plus and an A-ness. Okay. And, but and again, are we A plus in anything we do? The answer is no. Okay. The goal though, that's our goal in every department of our company. Here's where we should be. Here's the gap. How do we close the gap?
Talk about, and maybe there's a RockStep on this. I'm just gonna share some of the things that I kind of look for as a business owner myself. A much smaller team than hundreds. We have about 24 people at a given point in the year that are on our team. Exceed expectations every time. Yes. And so for us, it's always under promise, over deliver rather than over promise and under deliver. I don't know if there's a RockStep in there, but how do you feel about just hearing those words?
Well, get clear on expectations is our RockStep number 11. Look, in the investment business, you want to exceed expectations. So, there's a danger of puffing, of saying, "Hey, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do great," and then you don't, and that's not good. Okay,
right.
So
right.
Yeah.
Talk about there's so many opportunities nowadays in the investment world. There's, of course, the stock market, and there's just putting cash under a mattress right now because of who knows
buying
what's
gold.
going on.
You should buy gold.
Right, buying gold or any precious metals, or invest in the world market or locally. Um, I love the idea of investing locally in real estate because I think real estate over the long run, while past performance does not dictate, or past performance doesn't dictate future results. I feel like real estate. I just remember my Uncle Mar saying to me, Douglas, you got to invest in real estate. It's
Yeah.
extremely important to have that in your portfolio. So that's always in my mind as I'm clunking down, a share or two or five in a shopping center.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, you believe in real estate as well, and commercial real estate specifically. Tell me why.
So this is an alternative investment. Everybody has money in the market. But if you look and our investors are high net worths or family office or institutional, as you move up the wealth set of investors, you'll find that a higher percentage move into alternatives. And by far the biggest alternative is real estate. And it is a great alternative to the stock market. The stock market's at a peak. Many investors are increasing their allocation to real estate, but it is a good alternative to the stock market. So, in the real estate sector, there's four big food groups. The commercial real estate sector, there is multifamily, which has gotten the majority of investments over the last 10 years. There is industrial, warehouses. There is office, which took a big hit with COVID.
Yeah.
And then there is the shopping center sector, which had been out of favor because of the Amazon effect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's happened in our sector is two things. One, Amazon plus COVID kind of killed the weak retailers. And those that it didn't kill have figured out how to compete against Amazon, hold market share, even grow market share. And their balance sheets are very strong. Most of them are investment grade credit. And they're telling Wall Street, we're going to open up 50 stores each year or 200 stores each year into an inventory of shopping centers that, because of construction costs going up by 40%, when they're not building anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So different than the hundreds of thousands of new units of multifamily coming on market and the new industrial, there's no new shopping centers. So you have all these companies that are growing into an inventory that's not.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Okay. The second thing that's happened is, for investors that like cash flow, that like yield, the shopping center sector is the yield play.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? It's because we have positive leverage. What that means is that the yield at acquisition, the cap rate, is higher than the interest rate on the debt for the asset.
Mm-hmm.
So we just bought a grocery anchored center in Louisiana at a 9% yield. We're borrowing at 7%. We're buying an enclosed mall at a cap rate of 16 cap,
Mm-hmm.
and we're borrowing at 7%. So these properties have huge amount of cash flow. That's positive leverage. I'm in Houston. Outside my window is a 300 unit multi-family apartment complex valued at a 5 cap, a 5% yield. But the debt on that property is 6%.
Right.
So by adding debt, you're hurting the returns to your investors. Okay. So the only way that works is if the sponsor believes that they can rapidly increase the profitability and cash flow, the net operating income off that asset. We call that a strategy of prayer. Okay.
I hope.
And in commercial real estate, a strategy of prayer is not what we recommend to your listeners.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, tell me, you mentioned a couple things in there, so I'm really curious. What is the typical property look like that you are working with?
So let's start with geography. We are secondary, tertiary market operators,
Mm-hmm.
and we use the term hometown. Our fund name is called Hometown America, and we define a hometown as a city under 1 million, could be as small as 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
That has great quality of life, engaged civic and political community, low crime, low cost of living, So you've got to have that. That's a smaller community. That's what you've got, but you combine it with essential drivers. It's got to have something driving population growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to have a major university or military base or tourism or a really expanding hospital district or a Fortune 1000 company or multiple of that. Those got to be essential drivers.
Right.
So that's where we live. Okay. Now, within that geography, we buy open air centers and we also buy enclosed malls. The enclosed malls is the high octane type of investment because you're buying them at a yield of 15% plus or minus, a cap rate of 15%. And so what we do is we do something that no one else in the country does, Doug, and that is we align ourselves with the community in a very unique way. We go to the community business leaders and we say, look, here's a great asset. It's Main at Main, great
Mm-hmm.
location. You're a hometown market. Do you want to invest alongside my capital and our investor capital in that asset in your community with an institutional operator with institutional expertise at a chunk, a small piece, which you would never do?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And by doing that, we get local business leaders to be partners with us in that hometown. And it helps on things that are really powerful. It helps with entitlements, zoning approvals, property taxes, incentives. Oftentimes, these large properties, you want to do something different with them. You want to put a medical office or a sports complex. And so you basically deputize your local investors as leasing agents for alternative uses.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the board of the community college, the hospital district, the economic development district. And so you basically can reduce your risk, therefore improve your returns by taking the effort to get local partners. In addition, debt is hard for malls. That's why you can buy them so inexpensively. But if you can network with community bank debt, they want to invest in their communities
Mm-hmm.
for assets that are high profile. And so you can get more debt capacity and you can get a market interest rate and you can get flexibility with limited or no prepayment penalties. And oftentimes your local investors are on the board of your local lender. Okay. So everything is aligned.
Talk about typically who would be, you mentioned earlier, high net worth individuals, and I certainly see that as a major player in what you do. How do you indoctrinate new people into an environment that that they want to get, make investments in? There's
Sure.
oftentimes people that have a little bit of money, but not a lot of money that they want to put in.
So the answer is you have to educate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Doug, our goal as a company is to be the country's leading educator in shopping center investing. So at rockstep.com, there is an educational learning center. There's a learning center that has about 150 articles on every aspect of investing for people not used to investing in this. So it's not for a PhD. Okay.
Right.
And we have videos. So we have a YouTube channel called the Shopping Center Channel. Please go there and look at videos. And then, you can, if you're on Instagram, I'm the Shopping Center guy. So
we'll make sure we put
me.
links in the show notes for those things as well.
So the answer is educate yourself. Okay. And if after you educate yourself, you like the story and you think you understand the risk, because we talk about things that go wrong, why not to look at the sector. We're trying to be very straight, speak straight about it.
Right.
Then you engage us in a conversation.
As it relates to things like the market, you mentioned the market is at a peak, and it is at a peak right now. Is it a peak that will continue to perform? We don't know. Again, past performance does not dictate future results, but at the same time, the market's doing really well. Real estate is right now doing really well. There's areas that are doing very well. As it relates to just understanding which direction that you go, how does somebody make a decision? I mean, talk to the layman that's out there, and the guy that's just right now to date has put money in a 401k. He might have 25 or 50 or $75,000 in discretionary savings that he could put into commercial real estate. Is that a good client for you, or is that somebody that you would say, we really don't want to put them in that position?
Yeah, first of all, any investor that invests with somebody like us needs to be accredited. And that means that the SEC requires that they have a minimum net worth of $1 million, not including their homestead,
Mm-hmm.
or they make $200,000 a year for 3 years in a row if they're single, $300,000 3 years in a row if they're married. And so the purpose of that is they don't want somebody to be destitute if you happen to lose money. That's a
Right.
purpose.
Right.
So if it's 25 or 50 or 75,000, we're not the right player for that, but there is crowdfunding places. Certainly you could invest in a REIT, et cetera. Most of our investors' net worth is generally above 5 million and sometimes very, very much higher than 5 million, but it's professionals, it's lawyers, doctors, dentists, it's family offices,
Mm-hmm.
and then certainly institutional players. Our minimum investment's $100,000. So, for people who want to go with private equity real estate, which is what we do,
Mm-hmm.
my suggestion is to diversify and, choose 2 or 3 sectors. And there's great operators in multifamily and industrial. And, we on our website, will tell you what we think are the 5 best operators in each of these 4 subsectors.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to our website and see who are the top players we like in multifamily or in industrial, and go to their website and read their stuff. Just educate yourself.
Now I
Okay.
know you were involved in your family's retail business, and obviously you're the leader of a large organization right now. Who do you draw your inspiration? Who did you draw your inspiration from to create what you've created, and who are you still drawing inspiration from today in order to continue your push forward?
I certainly my mentors and teachers, my father, my grandfather, um, people that inspired me in our family business. It's a combination of a skill set for what you're doing with real grittiness and honor in terms of how you treat people. And you have to have continuous learning. Um, you know, I think all of us have to constantly, I mean, look, we got to get better, 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 better. And, life and business is about dealing with problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we do all day long. It's problems. That's it.
Hey,
Okay.
wait, you said wasn't your one of your rock steps work in the solution or be a part of the
Yeah. And
solution?
so RockStep 16, that's this week, provide solutions. That came from Napoleon. So Napoleon had a rule that when his generals came to him, they would never tell him, "Hey, Napoleon, we got a problem." You have to come in the following format. Napoleon, we got a problem. I've identified 3 options or multiple options. Boom, boom, boom. Here's what they are. And I am recommending option 2 because.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea is you want people to take responsibility to think through a solution to a problem and not drop the monkey on somebody else's back.
Right.
Okay. And that is a behavior that leads to a better performing team.
Agreed. Agreed. And well said. Anything I should be asking you? I know we have just had a very short period of time to jam a whole bunch of information into a small funnel, but is there something that we want to make sure are the words that we are leaving or the question we're leaving for our listening community answered today?
I was thinking about nice guys and the power of nice. You don't know. I mean, look, when we hire people, when I get married to somebody, I mean, like you're when we hire people, you're looking for a skill set, but you also want them to follow the rock steps. But as good as you can interview, Doug, and any testing and multiple you don't know till you live with somebody.
Right.
This is it.
Agreed.
Okay. And being nice is about being nice in the small things, the day to day, the little kindnesses. And that's really for partnership, for spouse. That is essential. Now, there's other things that are important, but if you don't have those small kindnesses, it doesn't work. This is my opinion. It doesn't work. And I've learned the hard way.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. You mentioned a couple of things in there, and thinking about it after we disconnect, I'm going to make sure I make an intro. I have another podcast that we produce called the Generous Business Owners Podcast, and I'm like, he would be perfect for that environment. So I'm going to make an intro if that's okay for you to have one more appearance on one more podcast.
Doug. And so I was just thinking about other messages. I do think it's important for people to educate themselves. And if they want to diversify out of the market and are open to real estate, they should educate themselves. So come to our website, go to the Education Center. If they want to educate themselves in other sectors, we give recommendations. It's not investment advice, advice, but people we like in other sectors, go to their websites and really study. If you go into commercial real estate through private equity as a limited partner, as an LP, my recommendation is to come into it at the fund structure instead of the deal structure.
Right.
Because you get that diversification. So our fund, call it 6-7 properties. One will probably underperform, hopefully one or two overperform, and the rest should be just about right.
Right.
And if you buy something directly and it underperforms, and that's the only thing you did, it's not good.
Right.
So that would be my recommendation to your group. So we've got a fund. Other companies have a fund. I think diversification is through a fund structure is smart. Now, from a tax perspective, Doug, this big, beautiful bill, is providing like unprecedented tax protection. So let's pretend somebody invests $1 million. They'll get a first year write-off of between 70 or 80% passive loss, a $700,000 or $800,000 passive loss immediately to offset passive gain. And I mean, it's bonus depreciation combined with cost segregation. Income producing real estate provides an amazing tax hedge. And so if tax thinking is important, then that's important for people to look at.
Excellent.
And we have a whole video on
that's
an
great.
article on tax stuff.
I'm gonna check that one out too, because if there's one thing that I am short on is understanding the tax laws. So it's always good.
I don't want to give tax advice.
I got it. But it's good to get advice just to hear, or it's good to get information, whether you take it as advice or not. That's up to you, Nice Guy community. So definitely, I'll put a link in the show notes so you have access to all of Andy's RockSteps and also to his website and his YouTube channel as well. Andy Weiner, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for sharing. And thanks for being a nice guy. I appreciate you being here.
Hey, Doug. Thank you.
Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Andy Weiner. All of his information, including access to his sites and information, right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Thanks for listening to the Nice Guys on Business. Please go to patreon.com/niceguys. And for as little as $1 a month, you can help support this show. You remember that thing down in Panama, right? Come on. You owe them.